is dedicated to the President of the United States for a couple of reasons. And I'm going to handle the birth issue head on today, and I'll tell you why. The reason is that the entire Republican Party, all of the Republican hacks at National Review, are attacking Donald Trump on the birther issue. That's because the talking points were sent out by the Republican Party to the stooges on other places to put down Donald Trump and say the birther issue is solved. Now, let me tell you where I come from. Here's the problem with the birther issue. To me, you have to analyze it from my point of view. It's irrelevant where he was born in one sense, but quite relevant in another. Why is it relevant? Because if he wasn't born here, then he's not qualified to be president. However, even if it turns out to be true that Barack was not born here, it's too late to impeach him for that, in the sense that it would take 2 years to get an impeachment or any other hearing going with this Congress, at which point he'd be out of business anyway. That's number one. But to link all of your criticisms about this Marxist president to this birth issue is a disastrous error for two reasons. Firstly, because his biggest crimes and misdemeanors are not about where he was born, but about his social policies, most particularly his economic policies, which are classic Das Kapital Marxism. Secondly, there's another major problem with this, which is that I believe he's probably going to pull out an authentic birth certificate or facsimile thereof just around the time of the debates during the next election when he faces his Republican opponent. Now, if he does that, it's the end of the road for the Republicans if they've linked themselves to this issue. But even if they haven't linked themselves to this issue, they're finished. Why? Let's say the candidate is a middle-of-the-road guy like Romney, who has never said a word about the birther issue. Obama's going to pull out his, quote, real birth certificate, and if Romney should, God forbid, accuse Barack truthfully of being a Marxist socialist on the economic level, which I doubt he would have the guts to do anyway, Obama's going to pull out the real birth certificate, smirk, and say, you know, Mitt, here's the problem with your argument. Your crackpot extremist Republican Party accused me of not even being an American, and yet here's my birth certificate. And now you're standing there and you're saying that I'm a Marxist, when in fact I'm a centrist, simply trying to help the most number of people. That's the end of the Republican Party as we know it. And that's why the birther controversy is a disastrous issue on which to hang all of our criticism of this Marxist president. Remember who you're dealing with here. You're dealing with a Chicago gangster regime that is printing money based upon nothing. They have the printing presses, and if they can print money and they can print bonds that have no value whatsoever, why do you assume that they couldn't forge an original birth certificate, quote unquote, at the end of the road and use this instrument to foist this charlatan upon America again? That's my position on the birther issue. Now I'll take your calls at 1-800-449-8255. You can agree, disagree. I mean, what are you going to agree or disagree with? I mean, what did I actually just say? I said a couple of things. I said, don't hang all of your criticisms of this charlatan on the birther issue. It's a dead end. You can't win with it. That's number one. What else did I say? I said, whether or not he was born here, he's going to come up with a real, quote-unquote, birth certificate and wave it in the face of his Republican opposition at the end of the road, which will be a disaster for those who link themselves to it. So that leads us back to Donald Trump. Why did he make this his number one issue? Why? Because I think his advisor is a Trojan horse. I told him that. I sent him an email about that. When I learned 2 weeks ago that Obama's number one advisor is an Obama supporter and a Dukakis supporter and a lifetime liberal Democrat lawyer, I said, oh, my God. He may be a good lawyer, as most of these psycho-liberals are, but I believe he's working for Obama without Trump even recognizing it, and Trump has fallen into that guy's trap. I said that to him. That's one man's opinion. That's one man's